Hey guys, I'm glad you're here. Today's project is this Craftsman leaf blower, and the problem is that it was running just fine and then it suddenly stopped. Now it won't start. Let's see if we can figure out what the problem is and hopefully fix it. This is an outdated design for a blower. The blower fan faces down, making it really wide, and the engine is a little too bulky. However, I used this particular model for over 2 years before I got rid of it and replaced it with a more modern design. So even though it's a bit awkward, it's certainly capable of doing a great job. So the history on this blower was that while it was in use, the blower started to get slower and slower until it finally came to a complete stop. First, let's pull on the rope a couple of times to check if there's any sort of resistance from the engine. And unfortunately, it's a bit too easy to pull. There's some compression, but there may not be enough for it to actually run. Let's check to see if the engine will even run. Let's remove the air filter cover and put some fuel in the throat of the carburetor and pull the rope till it starts. And unfortunately, it did not start. Let's try that again, but this time we'll put fuel straight into the engine through the spark plug hole, and we're going to do it this way just in case the fuel we put into the carburetor throat didn't make its way into the engine. And I hate to say it, but it didn't start again. At this point, we need to start worrying now. Instead of checking for spark like we normally do, let's get to the nitty-gritty and install the compression tester and find out how much compression the engine actually has. And I was hoping for about 70 psi, but after pulling the rope 3 times, the gauge only shows about 50. This is too low for it to start and run, and if it did start, it wouldn't have any power. The engine's just too worn out. I am really curious, though, as to what kind of damage caused this low compression. We're going to have to check the wear on the piston ring, and the easiest way to do that is to remove the muffler and take a look at the piston through the exhaust port. And once the muffler is off of the engine, we'll want to remove this steel ring from the exhaust port. This will give us a better view into the engine. Okay, so what we're seeing here is the side of the piston. We're going to need to pull on the starter rope slowly to rotate the engine and move the piston until we can see the ring. Okay, so there's the ring, and if you couldn't already tell by the minor scoring on the direction of travel along the piston, there's quite a bit of damage. And if the piston ring and the piston have scoring on them, then more than likely the cylinder wall has it too. And if I move the piston out of the way, we can see clearly that there's carbon deposits on the edge of the exhaust port. This means that this engine was running on a mixture of oil and gas, but was way too heavy on oil, resulting in carbon buildup. The carbon eventually dislodges and damages the piston, the ring, and the cylinder wall. It's unfortunate, but we'd have to rebuild the top end of this engine to get it to run again, and it's not worth doing. You can buy a cheap gas blower from Megamart for less than $90. So my question to you is, would you ever consider rebuilding a piece of equipment versus buying a brand new one? I'm really interested in hearing what you have to say. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your time. Please feel free to ask any questions, and I hope to see you in my next video.